You walk down the old streets of Marfa, Texas. The air smells like dust and adobe, light, and perhaps just a hint of early morning coffee drifting from an open window. Time moves slower here. Every corner carries a story, and shadows lengthen like memories. As your car rolls in from the long straight road across the high desert, the town emerges, low, horizontal, quietly proud against a backdrop of scrubland and distant mountains. The salt-cracked earth runs into the horizon, and the sky is impossibly wide. You slow, glance at the sign. Marfa, Texas. In 2025, Marfa's population is estimated to be between 1,600 and 1,700 residents, though in some records, including census estimates, it's cited as 1,788. Once a railroad water stop, now a cultural landmark. It's a place where very few people bustle, but many arrive to find stillness. You step out, the desert wind brushing against your face. There is no roar of traffic, only the occasional hum of a distant car and the wind across open land. The buildings are modest, painted in muted tones, many adobe or flat-roofed structures with simple facades. You sense immediately a quiet paradox. Though small, Marfa feels larger in spirit. It has become a magnet for artists, travelers, dreamers, a canvas in the desert. Walking further, you pass the Presidio County Courthouse, graceful, weathered, and old storefronts that once served railroad workers and ranchers. You feel the weight of decades in the stonework and rusted tin signs. Marfa is small by design and by time. Day to day, the movements are slow, mindful. If you wander at mid-morning, you might see gentle figures leaning on porches, exchanging a greeting, scanning the horizon. In a town with fewer than 2,000 souls, each life becomes part of a larger weave. The median age in Marfa is about 54.2 years. That suggests a community where many are in the later chapters of life, where seniors form a significant presence. One might infer that among those residents, a sizable ratio, those over 60, may represent perhaps 1/4 to 1/3 of the population, though I could not locate a precise figure for over 60's ratio. But the texture of the town, its stillness, its reverence for history, its slower pulse, feels shaped for those who carry many years. Poverty is present. According to recent data, roughly 25.6% of the population lives below the poverty line. That means many here live with scarcity and resources are precious. Homelessness exists, though in a small town, the visible homeless count is modest. You might see someone sleeping in a makeshift shelter or car, though intensive social services are limited in a place this remote. Yet there is dignity in what people do. Small farms, artists, studios, local shops, galleries, bed and breakfasts. You see signs for the Chinati Foundation, perhaps the single most famous cultural magnet here, where massive minimalist artworks are installed in old military hangars. As you stroll, you pass cafes and galleries. You feel a gentle tension between the locals, who remember when this was just a railroad stop, and the newcomers, artists, tourists, wanderers, drawn by the openness. There is also the Marfa Invitational Art Fair, small in scale, intimate, situated in this fragile yet vivid place. Walking through the gallery district, you see stark contemporary pieces in contrast to adobe walls, large steel sculptures, conceptual installations, ephemeral works laid across desert light. The art feels like a conversation with the land, both bold and humbled by space. You might rest for a time in the courtyard of Chinati, sunlight filtered through cutouts, desert wind rustling grasses. You sit on sandstone steps, watch shadows shift. Marfa lies in West Texas's high desert, roughly 4,000 to 5,000 feet above sea level, about 1,400 meters, in the Trans-Pecos region, between Big Bend's wild lands and the Davis Mountains. The town is remote. You feel the distance in each breath, the sky arched overhead. The climate is arid, dry, everything tuned to extremes. Summers are hot, with clear skies and dry wind. Winters are cool, nights sharp and still. Rain falls sparsely, and when it does, the smell of earth rising is vivid. One evening, thunder rolls in from far off, and you watch lightning flare above a distant ridge. Safety in Marfa is generally good. Low crime compared to urban centers. The biggest risks are environmental: heat, isolation, occasional flash floods and desert washes. At night, the darkness is deep. In that dark sky, stars appear with piercing clarity. You feel both small and expansive under them. In great silence, you catch the famous Marfa Lights, mysterious glows seen on the horizon, flickering in the distance. Many visits are made for that curious wonder, and you, too, strain your eyes past scrub, past low hills, for something luminous. Whether alien, atmospheric, or illusion, the myth remains. Nearby, nature is close. You might drive out of town toward the Chinati Mountains, explore desert trails, or depart toward the slopes of the Davis Mountains. The land is raw, elemental. You cross arroyos, past junipers, sagebrush, cactus fields. In that open country, a hawk glides. You feel time stretching, each mile a meditation. There is no beach here. The nearest water is far away, but desert landscapes serve as quiet parks. The town's open spaces, shaded courtyard gardens, and small public plazas are where people slow down. You might find a pocket garden behind a gallery or an art installation that doubles as a contemplative locus. In town, there is a public square, benches, shaded walls, a sense of emptiness multiplied into serenity. You pause under an awning of shade, lean back, let wind stir your hair, listen to the soft creak of wood. By the way, where are you watching this from? Which city and what time is it where you are right now? Type it below. I'd love to see how far this story has traveled, how many cups of tea or coffee accompany your screen. You wake early. The sunrise pushes pink and gold across desert ridges. You hear nothing but wind through dry grasses. You wander toward a small cafe. The Marfa burrito might scent the air, where locals sip coffee, read, nod to you in quiet greeting. Housing in Marfa is modest. The median home value is about $217,600 in recent years. Many locals and artists rent small homes or casitas. The median rent is very low compared to larger cities, perhaps under $400 to $500 per month for small units. The cost of living score for Marfa is about 70 on a U.S. scale where 100 is average, meaning overall costs, housing, food, healthcare, transport, are lower than average. Also, some estimates place a monthly cost for a single person at about $2,064 in 2025. So daily expenses, local groceries, simple meals, modest utilities are manageable for those with modest income, though any scarcity is keenly felt. If you live here, your life revolves around shared meals, occasional gallery shows, local errands, walks across open land. You may drive to Alpine or a larger town for more diverse shopping or services. Healthcare is thin in such remote reaches. Marfa is served by rural clinics or small medical practices. For major care, residents must travel to bigger centers, for example, Alpine or El Paso. Insurance coverage is essential. In Texas, about 95% of seniors over 65 have some form of coverage, but for some, the cost remains a barrier. For more serious hospital care, air ambulances or longer trips are common. The nearest full-service hospitals may be many miles away. In emergencies, every minute counts, and the desert intervenes. Education in Marfa is handled by the Marfa Independent School District. The town has a public school system. Tax levies and budget constraints are challenging. In 2025, discussions include raising teacher pay and adjusting exemptions for the elderly and those with disabilities. Literacy is high. The residents, including older generations, generally have basic educational attainment. Many younger people pursue degrees elsewhere. The proportion with college degrees is modest, but in this town, life experience often counts more than diplomas. You walk past the high school, simple brick, a gym, a track. You imagine children playing in dust clouds, school buses rolling down gravel roads. You think of local teachers giving more than instruction. They give roots, connection to a wider world. As the sun climbs higher, the heat burns. You retreat into a gallery, trace your fingers across the surface of a sculpture. You sit in the hush. Let the desert stillness fill you. By afternoon, you drive out to the outskirts, climb a gentle ridge, stand at a vantage point to look back on the town. In the distance, the courthouse dome glints. Roofs of adobe, a gallery spire, a scattering of homes. The land stretches beyond. You think of the homeless among them, of those living in cars or tents under stars. You think of seniors managing on fixed incomes, of limited infrastructure, of the delicate balance of survival and art, of memory and hope. As dusk gathers, lights come on in windows, warm pools of illumination amid dark walls. You might see silhouettes in a cafe, someone reading, someone playing guitar. Music drifts softly. Night arrives and the stars emerge. You walk again to open land, lie back on a blanket. Constellations parade, the Milky Way arcs overhead. The desert wind whispers past. You're quiet. The hush is generous. The Marfa Lights flicker. In that moment, your heart twists with wonder. You came here seeking texture, seeking stories, and now the land gives you mystery. In these final moments, you feel how small this place is, and yet how large it feels in memory. Each stone, each panel of light, each step across dusty road becomes a fragment you carry onward. And as you leave, miles behind you, you realize Marfa doesn't fade. It lingers in your rhythm, in the silence inside you.